And because of that fact, we tend to forget. And it's important that we don't forget that large earthquakes can occur. So we should be aware that we are in a seismically active area, and there's always a possibility of having strong earthquakes at any time.
Both hurricanes and earthquakes can have devastating effects on mankind. Hurricanes are often accompanied by flooding, which is usually made worse by blocked drains and gullies that have been used as dumping grounds. Flooding causes damage to the main road networks island-wide, as well as damage to retaining walls and major drainage systems. Earthquakes, on the other hand, can cause fires and landslides, which can also lead to loss of lives. In 1907, Kingston had a population of 48,000 people, and in the great earthquake that struck that year, approximately 1,000 of them perished in the fire that followed the shock. Dr. Kirby believes that the level of awareness of the general public has increased considerably as persons are becoming even more aware of the dangers associated with disasters. Earthquakes are measured in terms of intensity on a range of 1 to 12, with 1 being the mildest. So far in Jamaica, we have never had an earthquake more intense than a Category 7, which was a devastating earthquake in 1692. Although it was felt island-wide, the most extensive loss of life occurred at Port Royal, where a portion of the town sank into the sea. All disasters have one thing in common. They require that you always remain calm. Remember that a disaster can strike at any time.
An earthquake can occur at any time, even while you're at work. If an earthquake occurs while you're at work, get under a table or stand in a doorway, holding on firmly to the doorframe or curl up against an inside wall. Once the shaking has stopped, leave your office briskly but orderly and assemble in an open area away from trees, power lines, or tall buildings. Do a head count by department to ensure that all workers are accounted for and check for injuries. Persons should not re-enter the building until they are informed that it is safe to do so by the authorities.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go!
Radio.
We'll have Calcom Up Close and House Matters in our features package.
And now the news and Kevin Clark. Research and publications. Television.
It's Wednesday, October 28th. We've got a hot Jamaica magazine.
Welcome to another edition of
Editorial and photography. Public relations.
It is set to be the driving force of the agency.
All this and more in one place. 4 divisions, 15 departments.
The largest organization of its kind in Jamaica and I dare say in the English-speaking Caribbean.
One strategic objective.
Truth. Well told.
It's the Jamaica Information Service.
the voice of Jamaica.
Haiti featured prominently in the prayers of our nation's leaders earlier this week as they joined in fellowship at the annual National Leadership Prayer Breakfast. The plight of Jamaican children was also a concern. They led the way in donating funds that will go towards outreach programs for vulnerable children run by the non-profit organization Hear the Children Cry. The importance of the intervention provided by NGOs like this is one cemented in law through the Child Care and Protection Act. Up next, we break down the provisions of the Act and your responsibility under the law. After participating in the World Summit for Children in 1990, Jamaica became a signatory to the International Convention on the Rights of the Child in May 1991. We pledged to implement national policy and legislative provisions to improve the status and conditions of our children and to create an empowering and nurturing environment conducive to their positive development. This pledge saw the birth of the landmark Child Care and Protection Act, CCPA, which received parliamentary approval on March 11, 2004, and was signed into law by former Governor-General Sir Howard Cook on March 25, 2004. The Child Care and Protection Act consolidated a myriad of child-related provisions embedded in 21 previously existing laws, including the Juvenile Act. The Child Care and Protection Act outlines the role and function of key groups and bodies responsible for the care and protection of children, some of which have been created by certain stipulations of the Act. It makes provisions for the establishment of an Office of a Children's Advocate to act in legal matters on behalf of children, a Children's Registry for the reporting of abuse of children. The Children's Advocate is Mary Clark and does, among other things, represents children in court, reviews laws relating to the rights of the child, receives and conducts investigations into complaints made by or on behalf of a child whose rights have been infringed, including those who are inmates or detainees of government institutions, and provides financial assistance to children making complaints and maintains proper records of the complaints. The Children's Registry receives information on suspected cases of children in danger of being abandoned, neglected, physically and sexually ill-treated, or who are otherwise in need of care and protection. The Child Care and Protection Act also formulates standard principles to be upheld in dealing with matters affecting children. The standards are founded on the tenets of the International Convention on the Rights of the Child, defines parental responsibility and government support as important factors in ensuring the welfare of children, encourages the community to report abuses against children, and increases penalties for violations of the rights of children and other offenses under the Act. In formulating standards for the care and protection of the child, the Act, in keeping with the International Convention on the Rights of the Child, embraces the best interest of the child, ensuring that he or she is safe and his physical and emotional needs are satisfied, recognizes the importance of the family unit in the nurturing of the child. It states explicitly that support given by the government to the family should not compromise its independence. Addresses issues related to children in need of care and protection. The Act instructs the police to bring a child who has been removed to a place of safety before the courts within 48 hours, and it safeguards the rights of children who are in conflict with the law. Such children detained in any penal facility must be separated from adults, and the necessary steps taken to ensure that bail is granted under the Bail Act. Child molesters, killers and abusers face stiffer penalties under the Child Care and Protection Act. Cruelty against the child and child neglect now attracts a $1 million fine or 12 months behind bars, up from $50 just a few years ago. Serious offenses such as carnal abuse and murder can attract capital and non-capital punishment and are considered as serious as crimes classified under the Offenses Against the Person Act. Operators of private children's homes faces penalties amounting to $500,000 or 6 months in prison for violating the terms of their license. Revealing the name, address, school or picture of a minor during any children's court proceedings is a punishable offense and attracts a maximum penalty of $1 million or 12 months in prison. Not only child offenders stand to answer to the law, But if you are found guilty of not reporting